This is my boy Sean. He's from North Carolina.
Right.
North Carolina. Someone was asking, what's it like traveling from the East Coast to the West Coast?
Traveling East Coast to West Coast?
Comparison with like nursing.
Oh, nursing-wise, people like their job out here and actually look forward to coming in. They don't mind working extra. 16-hour shifts are normal. You don't see that on the East Coast. People just...
How's the pay?
Miserable. Pay, even as a staff nurse, you're making 2 to 3 times what you make on the East Coast. Ridiculous. I'd love my job too if I was making that much money.
This dude making travel money, so he knows what's up.
That's right.
Yo, what is really good, future? So that was my boy Sean giving you guys an overall look at travel nursing, but today I will be answering some of your questions that you've been posting on my channel. When YouTubers say that they do read all the comments, they really do. So let's get to it. First comment comes from Richard Ace. I've been a registered nurse now for about 3 years. I've worked mainly as a home health nurse. I am now about to work in a skilled nursing facility for VA. Is it a good transition? What would you recommend? Thanks. It is actually a really great transition since you have worked in home health. A lot of the home health skills that you acquired will transfer over to a skilled nursing facility. Depends on how aggressive you are. You could probably go into medsurg as well, but going into ICU, you really do have to assess yourself if that's what you want to do. But if you are aiming toward a skilled nursing facility, you would make a really great transition. Second question comes from Lauren S. When you graduated nursing school, did you get in on a new grad program? So at the time when I went into nursing, I was in Alaska and my first unit was a med-surg unit. I missed the tail end of the new grad program that was going on. So I was basically fathered and oriented as a basic new grad, and there was no program because it just finished. So that was a very interesting experience, only because like I felt like all eyes were on me versus as a group. So I think this question will help a lot of people. This comes from username W2011. Need advice, bro. Been in my current job for 2 years, pay sucks, and we work 8 hours more than other hospitals around the area. I got interviews at 2 other hospitals, better pay, less hours, but I don't know. Never been a change type of guy, getting cold feet. You've been doing your job for 3 years, and for me, I basically have, when I was beginning nursing, I had like this 1 year rule, 1 to 2 year rule, and I still kind of do apply it to my practice today, and that's to get good at one thing in 1 to 2 years and move on. Your skills will basically plateau where you are right now, and the only reason why you're having a hard time moving on is because you're used to that job and that's all that you know. The more that you advance in your career, the more that you gain different skills or a different skill set and knowledge, the more it is to your advantage, especially the further you get down in your career. This is what creates nurse leaders, and this is what creates future NPs, CRNAs, and things like that. So I definitely do think that you should take the challenge to get to that next level, only because when you get to that next level, you'll thank yourself for it down the line and realize that what you were in, or whatever shoes that you were in the beginning, or wherever you're comfortable, that your comfort zone was broken and now you're at somewhere new, and that you could do new things and that you could challenge yourself to do bigger and better things. Next question comes from Aaron Lewis. Hey Jen, I graduate next month. Congratulations, by the way. Would you recommend going into a med-surg, and if so, how long before going into a special field? As always, solid content. Now Aaron, this is a common question I get all the time. You want to ask yourself, number one, how aggressive are you as a nurse, and where did you really like yourself in nursing school? Now, I didn't have the privilege of actually getting a U.S. education. Had I gotten a U.S. education, I probably would have been further in my career, but remember, God puts us in places where we should be at the right time. So when it comes to your practice, you really do have to assess where you want to start, or what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. For me, OB sucks. I'm sorry for all my OB nurses, I can't do it. So one, OB was out of the question. For me, I was entry-level nurse, and I was scared to death to actually go to ICU. So med-surg, you won't go wrong going into med-surg because you could easily up your skills down the line. Do 1 to 2 years of med-surg, go straight into ICU, and from there advance your career. Like, you will not regret your decision, especially if you have the motivation and inspiration to advance. Okay, next question comes from Aldrin Sabio. Great content, brother. I just got an off-topic question. Does nursing home utilize the same handoff report as hospitals? I'm a new RN and I'm about to start working in a subacute unit for nursing home. Now, nursing home is very status quo. I will tell you that right now. And nursing home, from my experience when I did nursing home, it was just pass meds. It is your duty as the nurse to actually assess whether or not a patient is declining, especially when your CNAs are involved. Basically, your CNAs are your eyes and ears. They will tell you if anything's wrong with the patient, if their status is declining. From there, usually when they're like in respiratory distress, you notice that they have a GI bleed, that they just aren't looking right, they are way out of their norm, then that's when you should act. So it is your job and duty as the nurse to assess those things. Now, in terms of reporting is very, I should put it, reporting is very easy. I've worked in skilled facility and nursing home, and they're very similar. What we used to do was we used to have a recorder, and we used to just basically record on that, and they would have a huddle on the morning shift where they would listen to your recording. But pretty much when patients are status quo, you really just give updates if there is any updates on the patient, especially if they are declining or whatnot. And by the time that they have declined, they probably already would have transferred to the hospital. Question comes from Han Ho. Can you do a nurse brain sheet? Like, I want to get an idea on how you guys do your brain sheet. If you mean brain sheet, you mean your report sheet. This is, I could explain it right here. Right here, basically, you know, patient's name, age, sex, allergies, and the diagnosis and history. We do a head-to-toe assessment. How I do it is a head-to-toe assessment, basically neuro, cardiovascular, pulmonary, GIGU, and tegmentary. Then we go by lab values, and then we basically discuss about family dynamics and what the plan is for the patient. So that's what our brain sheets look like, if that's what you're asking about. Now, I got a question here from Harajuku Lover, and it's actually about CRNA, and she's asking, can you please do a video on how to be a CRNA? And this is a question that I will refer you to my friend Aisha. I am not a CRNA, nor do I plan to go back to school for it. I was planning for it, but life came about, and I really, you know, I'm gonna focus on becoming a master first, then NP. So my route is not CRNA. So I apologize, I can't answer that question. Here's a good question from John A. Travel nurses don't have paid vacation leaves, paid long service leave, and sick paid leaves, do they? From my understanding, we do get sick days, and we actually don't have vacation leaves. And there's a reasoning behind that, and it's because we do get paid a lot. And on average right now, I'm making about 2,000 plus a week, and a lot of people doubt that I make that kind of pay. I just pick up like 1 extra shift or 4 hours extra hours sometimes. I do make a decent amount of money in a week, and that's because I'm specialized cardiothoracic surgery, ICU, and specialty pay is actually higher than general med-surg surgery pay and things like that, or ICU. So of course I will be making more because of the specialization and all my other certifications. So I hope that answers your question. Time for one more question, and this comes from Chris King TV. Do you ever think the shift for nurse practitioners education level will happen soon to a DNP requirement? Okay, so DNP, DNAP, doctorate nurse practitioner, doctorate in nurse anesthetist, and doctorate. This is very confusing, especially in the hospital, especially for nurses, because I have met some not CRNAs. I have met NPs who want to be addressed doctorate nurse practitioner, but that makes no effing sense. Man, this is a controversial topic, and it probably needs its own video in itself. So I just feel like it should be as high as a master's. And what one doctor told me is that the only reason why nurses want that name doctorate is because nurses will always be nurses, and you know, we should stay in our lane when it comes to practice, and we should always recognize that we started off as nurses, we will always be nurses, and all we are specialized and educated in the realm or whatever practice it is, like whether it be nurse practitioner, nurse anesthetist, educator, leader, or whatnot. Just remember that you're always gonna be a nurse. I hope that makes sense. For me, like again, it's very subjective when it comes to being called a doctorate. I just don't agree with it. But if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash the thumbs up button. If you guys have any questions, leave them down below. I will try to answer them in the next video. Yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. I'll take care. Peace.